Is it time to scrap school uniforms? 0207862 2222 is the number. Ahead of the new school year, more than 2/3 of secondary school parents have said that uniforms for their children are not affordable. 56% of parents with kids in primary school agree. The average annual cost of uniforms is £422 for pupils in secondary school, £287 for those in primary, according to estimates by the Children's Society. The government plans to limit the number of branded items demanded by schools in a bid to bring down costs, but wouldn't it be better to do away with them altogether? Marvyn, how old are yours at the moment?
They're 6 and 8, and they're at that age where literally every 3 months their sizes are expanding at rate, and I'm constantly buying school uniform. Actually, I just got the link from the school to buy their next year's term's uniform, and I think by just getting just the T-shirts alone and some winter fleeces and the PE kit, for both of them, came up to £243.
Can you do the hand-me-down thing?
The hand-me-down thing, it possibly, but again, it's just like, you know, I'm not sure if that's even really fair on them. That's not their, they don't need to have hand-me-downs because of how expensive they're making it.
Would you scrap it completely?
I would scrap it. The thing is, I'm a huge fan of children's individuality. I think when you meet your children for the first time, you very quickly realise that they are not your offspring. They are an individual life on their own. And getting to express themselves and actually be able to pick their own clothes and put it together. You know, my children now they supervise iron their clothes now with me because I want them to learn those skills of putting those things together. And it's like we got children wearing uniforms for a life that adults don't wear uniforms. It's a bizarre thing.
Angela, it works in the States. If you're in public high schools, state schools as we call them, you only wear your own clothes. There are no uniforms. There's only private schools where hopefully parents can afford it.
I disagree with respectfully everything Marvyn said.
And that's why I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. Big heart. We do it with respect. You know, I put 4 kids through. I haven't put through. They put themselves through schools. But you know, I've done many years of uniform buying, and the fact is, uniform means that there isn't a distraction on fashion between the haves and have-nots. It gives a sense of being all part of the system together, a sense of belonging, buying into the school ethos. I think it creates a level of seriousness because you're distinguishing between what you wear for play and what you wear for school. And in terms of adult life, Manchester United all play together wearing the same team colours. They don't say, well, I'm going to wear these shorts. I don't want an airline...
They can afford it. Okay. If it's the difference between that and putting food on the table, which it is for a lot of people in this
there is an argument for a uniform being more affordable, yes. You still have to clothe your children. So whether you go to Asda and buy a navy V-neck sweater, that's fine. I want an airline pilot to
wear... You have to have the logoed version, which is where
so
take the branding off, which is what Labour's saying.
But in terms of uniform means uniformity. I don't want an airline pilot flying the plane in Bermuda shorts. I want him to wear a uniform. It creates a sense of being serious about what you're going to be doing that day.
My 6-year-old
OK, let's take some calls. Let's take some calls. Linda's in Kent. Is it time to get rid of school uniforms, Linda?
No, I agree with everything Angela's just said. I wouldn't get rid of them, but I would have them just a generic type uniform that you can go and buy in, as she's just said, in Asda, wherever, whatever supermarket you use, or bargain type shop, you know, like Primark for an example. Not having to go to a fancy school shop where you get a sweatshirt with a badge on for your school, because it's going to be lost.
What do the kids get from? What do the kids get from uniform, and what do the parents get from the uniform? Why is it important?
Well, for parents, it's easier in the morning, for one thing, isn't it? They know what they're going to be wearing. They're not going to have arguments over what they're going to wear. And I agree, children want to be individuals, but they can do that at weekends. And in the holidays, they get plenty of holidays to, you know, be fashionable. I understand that. I was at school once, you know, when Nelson was a lad. But, I mean, they've been talking about getting rid of school uniforms since my son was at school, and he's 46 now. But I just think, yes, school uniform, but basic, you know, grey or black trousers, skirt, blouse, ordinary jumper, not a fancy one with a badge on, because some children won't be able to, parents won't be able to afford them. Then the kids will say, oh, you've only got an Asda shirt on, you know. Yeah. Everybody wear the same, and then everybody, you don't get rich and poor then, do you?
Linda, thank you so much. Deborah's in Surrey. Is it time to scrap school uniforms, Deborah?
Oh, I don't think so at all. When my kids were young, you used to get a uniform list, And you used to buy the stuff, say, from C&A or Woolies or even M&S, and they'd have a school supplies shop, and you go and buy the badges. And then you go and you'd sew the badges onto the blazer or wherever they needed. And it was about a quarter of the cost of what it is now. I used to be able to buy my two oldest blazers for a tenner from C&A, and it was £3 for the badge.
What's behind what's behind this escalation in these costs, do you think? Why is it that they seem to have gone through the roof like this?
You have to go to these shops to buy the ones that are already pre-made. And I went from, say, £15 for a jacket up to over 40.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, Deborah. You're a captive audience, and that's part of the problem. But you know, as we've already discussed, a cheaper version. We're not looking at outlandish things. If the uniform is fairly simple, grey trousers or a grey skirt, black V-neck, and you talked about hand-me-downs. I'll just tell you very quickly, Marvyn, I went to a posh girls' school. I was a scholarship girl. I got a free place, in case anyone thinks I'm entitled.
You went to great use.
Pardon?
You went to great use.
Well, yeah, it was, you know, it passed this way once. But we used to have a clothing mart at the end of every term in which people could buy and sell used uniform. And there were some really posh girls at this school. There were girls like me who were scholarship girls. Local pub chain Joseph Holt, near where I live, they do school uniform charity collectives at this time. You hear local charity shops doing that. Because, you know, as you say, kids grow very quickly. You can have a nice sweater and within 3 months they're not using it. And if it's in good nick, why not let somebody else wear it?
As a middle child, I have to advocate that please buy, if you can afford, please buy your children their own clothes and let them own their own clothes in a particular way. It's a really important process of connecting to their identity. But yes, if finances are a problem, please do make sure you are buying them.
We're going to take another call. I wonder how much the identity, a sense of belonging that you get from wearing a uniform is important as well. If you're proud of your school and being part of it. I loved wearing a school uniform. Let's take another call. Charmaine's in Bournemouth. Charmaine, time to get rid of school uniforms. What do you think?
Yes, definitely.
OK. Tell me why.
Because all these children that are in school, they don't earn money. They don't buy their uniform. The parents have to buy their uniform. The parents still have to buy them normal clothes because they change into other clothes when they come home from school. If you go and work for Tesco, Sainsbury's and anywhere else, your uniform is paid for. Why should we have to buy kids' uniform? I have grandchildren now. So, you know, I'm not in that position, but I see what my children go through with their children.
Are they going to have to be... The clothes have to be paid for at some... Whether it's we pay for them through our taxes or whether we buy them ourselves, they're going to have to be paid for. I just wonder, Charmaine, about that arms race that can happen at school if you're wearing your own clothes, and particularly I'm thinking about trainers here. Couldn't it be even more expensive if kids get to choose and buy their own clothes?
Yeah, but... if you're the parent, you buy their clothes.
Right. I must tell you, in the sixth form of my school, we were allowed to wear our own clothes after 5 years of uniform, and I hated it because that's when you really saw the difference between the haves and the have-nots. Yeah. And I thought it was terribly divisive.
I think the main thing is banning logos when you're in school. You shouldn't have logos available in school clothing. That's a big difference.
Well, Labour are talking about taking the branding off school uniforms, but yeah, get your point, Marvyn. Thank you, guys.